Kingsley, I love the stories that you tell. They really come alive in your paperback book, eBook, and audiobook.
Thank you very much, Wilson, for your 2 thumbs up. Powerhouse Radio, Rough Roads, Radiance and Rebirth is my coming-of-age memoir featuring my life and radio experiences. Those are at the core of the narrative.
Your wonderful story spans 5 decades, beginning in the 1970s.
Amazing and true.
I love your details about Black radio, Top 40 radio, and public radio. Did you target them all as places you wanted to work?
They weren't necessarily targeted, but let's face it, when opportunity knocks, you have to take advantage of it. I happened to start in more of a progressive, free-form college radio format. My first big experiences were in Top 40 and Black radio. And public radio comes along later. They are all important, but as I said, when the opportunity knocks, you really have to take advantage and get those experiences early on.
Who are some of the music artists you engaged with?
I interviewed and interacted with a whole lot of folks. Phyllis Hyman, Average White Band, AWB, Buddy Miles, Blues Image, Bobby Humphrey, Art Blakey, Harvey Mason, Teddy Pendergrass, Jerry Butler, Jimmy Castor, and others.
You mentioned Teddy Pendergrass and Jimmy Castor. Tell us more.
Oh, Teddy. Turn off the lights, close the door, rub that lady down in hot oil. I have great experiences seeing him multiple times, including in 1980 when a big tribute was done for him in Philadelphia. Some of the radio elite showed up. There was a big proclamation by the mayor, W. Wilson Goode, at the time. And I talk a little bit about an experience I had with him on the streets of Atlantic City. And as far as the E-Man, Jimmy Castor, had a great experience, one of my favorite interviews, talking with Jimmy and also Jerry Thomas, who was another member of the Jimmy Castor bunch.
We have a very special live in-studio guest this morning, 2 of them as a matter of fact. The E-Man himself, Mr. Jimmy Castor, and
Jerry, my piano player, arranger. Jerry plays trumpet and he writes songs and he's involved in a lot of things, production. Jerry Thomas.
The article in the newspaper stated that you thought that you had reached a good level of success, especially in terms of a black audience, but you didn't feel that you were going to be a superstar. Am I misquoting?
No, I consider myself a successful black entertainer at this point, but a superstar I'm not, and my group is not a super group. And I have a very professional group. They are of superstar status, but you must cut through all the grease and all the racism and everything to get to that point, and it's so hard, as you know. As a radio announcer and program director yourself, it's very hard. A guy with your diction and know-how in this business could be at one of the really big Top 40 stations. It's so hard, and the big Top 40 stations have a wider audience where I could ship gold or platinum immediately like the big white artists, but we don't get that chance because we have to work extra hard.
Kingsley, those were important key points to mention from the both of you.
Yes, Wilson, and we talked for almost a half hour, including the musical segments, and you can find a shorter 12-minute version on the Powerhouse Radio video YouTube channel.
In your book, you take a significant amount of time detailing how both black radio and public radio were hindered in growth by cultural and financial obstacles. It's a view from your insider perspective, having worked at so many radio stations.
Yes, I talk about the growth of black ownership by African Americans for black radio in the 1970s and how some federal rules loosened some of the requirements of ownership. And I also, of course, talk about my experiences working at one of the first black-owned radio stations in the state of New Jersey. When I get to public radio, I talk about some of the similarities and how public radio was essentially created on a large scale by an act of Congress, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. But it existed before that, even when some of those land grants were made in the middle of the country, and some of those land grant universities got FCC licenses. So we talk a little bit about that, but there are some similarities in my experiences in both black radio and in public radio.
Thank you for your time today, Kingsley. Powerhouse Radio, Rough Roads, Radiance and Rebirth is an exciting, interesting memoir full of your fact-based accounts and your quest to change with the times and stay current to serve your listeners and your community.
Thank you, Wilson, for talking with me. I really enjoyed it.